And now, Understanding the Times with Jan Markell, the program committed to helping you contend for the faith and view current events through the lens of the Bible. Here's Jan Markell.
Welcome to the program, everyone. It is good to be back in the studio after just 2 weeks, not 2 months, as I stated a few weeks ago, and thank you for your prayers. And I have a reprieve here from a devastating procedure which was not necessary, thanks to your prayers. And if you would like more information to be kept up to date on a tenuous situation here, then I'm just going to ask you to email me through my website, olivetreeviews.org. That will be repeated throughout the program. And then we will send you a link with all information. Again, we're not going to be giving out info via the telephone. So if you don't have a computer, maybe just have a friend email the ministry, olivetreeviews.org, and we'll just keep you apprised by email. And thanks to my good friend Brandon House for sitting in for me last weekend. He will fill in for me one weekend next month. But I do hope to be here as much as possible. Again, I can't thank you enough for your prayers, your concern, and the literally thousands of emails and well wishes here in the last couple of weeks, because I did make an announcement a couple of weeks ago, which I'm not going to revisit, because what we need to do is move into today's programming. And this hour, you may think this particular topic and perhaps the way it is being covered this hour is a little bit unconventional. I assure you it is not unconventional. As a matter of fact, I think that this is a topic that the church is woefully neglect about. And what I think I'd like to do, and I'm going to bring on my guest here in just a minute, and what I'd like to do is, what I just said is that the church has been woefully negligent on this topic. Why? Because it can sound a little fringy, because there are unstable, unbalanced people out there who actually they want to take this too far. They want to make a fool of those who believe that some demonic forces are behind this whole endeavor. And that is the issue of unidentified flying objects. I promise you this hour is going to be extremely balanced. As a matter of fact, I have a number of sound bites from Dr. Walter Martin. And there's nobody more biblically sound and balanced than he. He passed away in 1989. And I'll say more about the book that has recently been sort of updated by his daughter, Jill Martin Rishi, and Kurt Van Gordon, though that is also not our topic. But Dr. Walter Martin said this about this topic.
The Christian church simply cannot ignore it any longer. I said it in 1956, 1962, 1968, and now 1975. And responsible Christian theologians, including the late C.S. Lewis, called attention to the fact that it had tremendous implications for the Christian church.
Yeah, we can't ignore it any longer, particularly when it has some end-time connotations as well, which we will be picking up on throughout this next hour. Now, by the way, I was made aware of an outstanding DVD. It happens not to be new. It's new to me. It's new to my ministry. We do carry it, and then I'll mention the companion DVD that we carry it as well. The DVD that we are now carrying is simply called Unidentified. And it is a drama, and it's an incident that occurs in a small Texas town, and a man, while driving home at night on a back highway, claims to have encountered a UFO. And from there, the movie takes off in drama form. You've got the believers. You've certainly got a major skeptic in there. And it is, I've watched it now, and I find it to be very educational. And it does make you think about this issue. Now, I have the producer of this DVD online with me. Rich, are you with me?
I'm here, Jan. How are you this morning?
Well, we're doing just great. And it's Rich Christiano, correct?
Yes, it is.
And I'm going to give you a couple of your websites just a little bit later so that we can move on right into the discussion here. And as I said, I'm going to be playing a few sound bites from Walter Martin. But Rich Christiano, how did you get into this? I mean, as I opened up a few seconds ago, I said, this is considered fringy. It's considered unbalanced. There's nothing to it but the imagination and weather balloons. And so what made you go out and produce a film that says anything but that?
Well, my brother and myself have been doing Christian films since 1985, so we've produced several movies, and I was living in Arkansas at the time, and my former pastor there, was also interested in Christian films, and he had an idea for a movie, and it was a movie dealing with these two guys that started investigating a UFO sighting in a small Texas town, and they start writing about it. So he kind of wrote a treatment to this film, and having never written a script or a treatment before, he really didn't know how to go about it. But my brother and I both liked the idea. The UFO subject is kind of a subject that people don't take very seriously, but yet it never goes away. Every once in a while, things pop up. You'll see even national programs do shows about UFOs. So I thought it was just an interesting subject and started to just do some of my own research and look into it. And I thought, you know what, I think this is a really good idea for a film. And my brother and I kind of took his idea and put some real flesh and bones on it and started writing a script to use as a vehicle to present the truth, not only the truth about UFOs, because this movie does go into things about that, but also the truth of the gospel.
Right.
And how it relates to Christ and how it relates to the end times. And to me, it's a fascinating subject.
Yeah. Well, this is your passion, as I talked with you this week. Your passion is getting the gospel out, correct?
Correct, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the purpose of the UFO subject was to give some enlightenment about that subject, but more importantly, to present the truth of Christ and to point people for the Lord. Of all the movies that we've made, and we've made 12 between us, this is the most evangelistic film we have. I think the truth presented in this film, the gospel presented from like 3 different angles. This is our most in-depth presentation of the truth. And the response to the movie has been very good. And we wanted to try to make a thought-provoking film. And hopefully we've achieved that as people watch this. I've met and talked to many Christians that believe in UFOs, believe in aliens, believe in life on other planets. I think this movie takes a different viewpoint.
Oh, absolutely. And we need to tell them what viewpoint it is, and that is the viewpoint that what's going on here is in the realm of the demonic. Rich, what did you think of that little very short clip by Dr. Walter Martin that basically said, hey, church, wake up. You can't ignore this topic anymore. He made that statement back in the 60s and 70s.
Right. Is he referring to spiritual warfare? Is he referring specifically
to UFOs?
To UFOs, yeah. I think that, we need to be wise, and we need to realize what the devil's up to and what the things that he does to distract people. And that, to me, is what the UFO thing is. The devil is the master of distraction, and he's trying to take everybody down any path but the path. Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and life. No one goes to the Father but by me. And so the devil is going to try to take you down every other path he can think of. And, other than pornography sites on the web, there are more sites dedicated to UFOs supposedly on the web. I mean, there is so much stuff on this, And there's a lot of wild stuff, and people want to share their experiences and all this stuff. I mean, they've been buying. There's millions of people buying into this, and
as I was doing some show prep, Rich, and I became quite aware that I think the bottom line would be spiritual beings opposed to God's truth, and thus what's happening via the UFOs. And in fact, anybody aboard them, again, would be of a demonic nature. Now, this is what my ministry, Olive Tree Ministries, believe, and that we're trying to effectively communicate, that these unexplainable incidents are demonic end times phenomena that are growing more pronounced, just as other signs of the end of the age are growing more pronounced. Now, granted, as I've already said, there's a lot of hoaxes, there's a lot of experiences, there are a lot of sightings that cannot be explained away, but there are a percentage of these that actually there are a lot of sightings that perhaps can be explained away, but some of them cannot. And so, folks, I do encourage you to stay tuned and not think that we're... You probably thought, well, Jan, you've been gone 2 weeks. You've probably been taken away by aliens, and now you're back, so now you're going to talk about it. No, really not that at all. Rich, let me give you a couple of websites here. Rich Christiano, you can find more information at www.unidentifiedthemovie.com, unidentifiedthemovie.com, or at www.christianmovies.com. We'll give those later. You know, as we talked this week, Rich, we talked a little bit about how Hollywood does portray topics like this, and I raised the issue of E.T., here a harmless, lovable little guy, and you said that actually some people try to paint the little E.T. as a picture of Jesus Christ. But of course, E.T. never said anything about eternal life, never said anything about sin, those kinds of things. So how are they trying to present him as a symbol of Christ?
Well, I mean, you know, when people watch that movie, because of the fact that he came, he died, and he came back again, there was a lot of scuttlebutt about him being a picture of Christ. And like you said, you know, he never said anything about sin. I think that if you look at the top 20 or 30 box office movies of all time, half of them at least have to do with the supernatural and the sci-fi and this subject, which shows you the fascination that people have with it. And if you don't think the devil notices that and is going to take advantage of that fascination, then we're blind. And, you know, look, we're spiritual beings. People have everybody's religious. I don't care who you talk to. Everybody's religious. Everybody has standards of good and evil. I remember one time Madonna made a video, and MTV wouldn't air it. Mm-hmm. I mean, MTV, which will air anything, drew the line. I mean, even that had a standard. The question is, are you connected to the right religion? Because everybody's connected. Everybody's following somebody. You're following yourself, you're following some other deity, or you're following the true Lord and God, Lord Jesus Christ. And, you know, these are very important subjects. And the thing is, you know, when people today have been blinded by the media, they just watch stuff on TV or whatever, and we're not discerning. We don't discern things, and we've been lulled. I've always said this, you know, the biggest religion in the world is people just thinking if you believe in God and you live a good life, you'll go to heaven. And we know that's not the truth. That is not what the Bible teaches. And the Bible becomes the standard of truth. So there's tons of deception out there.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me just the number of people. I mean, there's been a lot of prominent people around the world that have said they've seen UFOs. I mean, like from President Jimmy Carter to Ronald Reagan to a lot of people that people would know that have had UFO experiences or seen things. So as like I said earlier, this phenomenon just stays out there. People don't take it that serious. And you and I were talking earlier this week on the phone. I think the correlation to the Roswell incident that occurred in 1947 is very interesting with the fact that Israel became a nation in 1948. that this is when this phenomenon really kind of started back up again, or started really full.